Lately, I've been seeing, or at least watching, um, various podcasts, and I honestly can't get through them. When I say podcasts, I like the ones on YouTube. Um, you know, the content I consume is different to the ones that I create. So I like to, like when I'm chilling out, relaxing, I like to just catch up on sports and video games. That's literally what I do. So it's not about personal development or any of that. Like I say, I self therapize myself, and then I share the experiences and the outcomes and all those sort of things. And it's different things that I do talk about. It's not always specific to a topic, or in this lane or that lane. It's like whatever I'm thinking about at that moment, I'll talk about. Um, but with what I do, I just do because I enjoy talking. Of course, I've been doing this for a while through various forms, whether it's on like social media such as TikTok or YouTube off and on. But I don't consider myself a professional. I consider myself just someone who just enjoys talking, and I just do what I do, and I just share what I know. I don't consider myself a presenter or a talk show host or a professional podcaster, So I don't, where my path leads, I don't know. But when I see issues in sectors, for instance, or I see inadequacies, and I feel like I'm part of it, it makes me want to push away. So yeah, I don't like criticizing people, but I just see like when I see people's podcasts, I think they're crap. And in all honesty, I can't even watch them all. So a lot of them might depend on the topic. It depends who's talking. Some people I can watch through, some I literally can't get through at all. So something I'm noticing here is there's a trend for some, not all of them, of course, but for some of them. Sometimes I think there's just too many hands. There was one I was watching just now. There was two people hosting, and I recognized one had charisma, the other one was trying too hard to be funny, to be interesting. And I just thought you're annoying me. You're irritating me because you're not. It didn't feel like they were just being natural. It felt like they were trying too hard. Almost like they knew that they have to step up while the other person's all relaxed and chilled because they had charisma. And it's like, well, it'd be easy if they weren't there, to be totally honest. It'd be a lot better, I think. So I think sometimes there's too many hands. So it got me thinking in general because you'll find a lot of these podcast people, they sort of it's like a circuit. They'll go on their podcast, you come on my podcast, that podcast, that podcast. And it's like, I just don't see the point of it. It's just a merry-go-round of crap, isn't it? What's the point of being on someone's? You come on there with just guests. It's like, it's just regurgitating content. So it got me thinking in general, like, I see myself featuring on other people's podcasts? And it's probably not, no, because I think most of them are shit. So I'm not doing that to be cruel or to just elevate myself. It's that I don't respect what I don't like. So it's like if someone was to invite me, it's like who possibly could invite me that I'm going to find interesting at this point. It doesn't mean that they don't exist, but so far the ones I've seen, no, no, I wouldn't waste my time. I don't care because I'm not interested in popularity contests. I really don't care. A lot of these people have like 250,000 subscribers and all those things, and it's like, but I'm watching thinking this isn't even very good. The topics can be interesting enough, and again, it's in those fields. Usually sport or it can be life and just general. And they might be trying to make it light-hearted, and a lot of time it's networking and connections. It's just who they know and it's who can come on and feature. And the person they're interviewing is interesting, sometimes interesting enough, sometimes they're dull as shit. Because I say that a lot, especially with celebrities. I find them really boring, a lot of them, and it's like when they start talking, I'm like, this isn't even fun. This is, it's, with the celebrity types, for instance, I'm not saying every celebrity, you can't start stereotypes people to that degree, but I do find a lot of them, they overindulge themselves. And it's almost like they think we're in. It's like it's a really weird way they present, and they're not all. I'll give an example. I don't like pulling people's names, but there's a guy that used to be in like teen comedies, DJ Qualls, and I thought he was funny in those. He's always this awkward guy. He comes across as like, and that makes him quite endearing because he's different. There's a vulnerability with his acting, so you're thinking, oh, he seems interesting. And I've heard him on a podcast before, and it's like it's like because you see them in the shows, you want to like it, but I can't even watch the whole thing because he just rambles on. He's got a story to tell, and rather than start right where he needs to start, he goes on and on and on. It's just, but it's the way he talks. It's so boring. It's like, my God, it's a story that potentially could be interesting. It actually surprises me that an actor can't seem to perform adequately, even on a podcast. Like, but again, I think sometimes they take the opportunity to think that everybody's there to hear their story, but it's not that interesting a story. But again, I don't want to be cruel, but it's just, yeah, if you just, maybe someone to see his podcast, maybe you knew where I'm coming from. But that's not the one that triggered me. I've seen a couple today, and it's like maybe three actually. And it was one after another, and I just thought, this isn't good. And that's not good. And that's not good. And it's like, I'm not saying it to sort of elevate anything, because again, I don't consider myself a professional. I'm just doing what I'm doing. But it's kind of demoralizing though, because I was like, if that's the standard that we're trying to get to, the standard isn't very good at all, you know? So it's like, but I'm not striving to replicate these people, because I don't think they're doing a very good job. A lot of them mumble. Um, they talk about absolute shit. In some of them, it's like the topics are nonsense. And it reminds me of the radio station people, because I think that's what podcasts are in some form. But it depends on the topic, of course, and who's doing the leading. But it can be like that thing, like if you're listening to the radio and you're listening and you're enjoying the music, and you just think, just let the music play, it's good. Just be a DJ. But the host makes it all about them. And it's like, but I was enjoying the music. I don't want to hear you talking about packets of crisps and, stupid, absolutely inconsequential shit. But it's because they think that we're there to have like moments with them. It doesn't matter what they talk about. I'm going to sit and listen, and I'm going to enjoy it. It's like, you're annoying as shit. And that's what some of the hosts are like. I was listening to. See, I'll pick up people. I don't really care. I took James Buckley. So I really like the In-Betweeners. I've just literally watched all 3 seasons. Like I said, I'm in my other videos. I'm converting my physical medium of DVDs, Blu-rays to digital. And while I was processing all that, because it uses up, you literally can't do anything. I'm just sitting there. So on my other screen, I put the In-Betweeners on, and I've gone through a whole lot of that. And he's hilarious in it. But you find some people with age, they get a bit more boring. But it's like, I'm not saying he's boring, but his character was funny, but the podcast was dry to me. I've tried to watch it. It's the only one I've ever seen of him. He's sitting there with his wife, and I feel his wife was trying too hard, to be totally honest. Now, other people might like it. I'm not here to sort of slate anybody personally. It was just an impression I had, the first impression, and I thought it was boring, like personally. So I was like, I can't even listen to this anymore. And again, what I'm saying there is, if these are the standards, and the production quality was good, and I always find that quite interesting, like who's doing all the production and how much does that all cost, because you got the title design and all that, and then it's like the backgrounds. It all looks really incredible. Like, you're thinking, that's high standard. It's good. So the production itself looks good, but then I don't know. Look, they've got enough subscribers that there must be a lot of people that just enjoy just sitting there listening and watching and enjoying it. But for me, I don't know. It doesn't sit right. But yeah, again, I'm trying not to be critical. I don't find it comfortable to put people down like that. But and then you got within the sports, you got the famous players. They might say a lot, and that gets really annoying, because sports personalities do. They seem to have a hard time thinking on the spot, so they say a lot of ums, but they also mumble. And it's, again, when you're on a microphone, it's like, don't mumble. Some of them even hold the microphone, and it becomes this really laid back, lazy attitude. It's a case where people, it grinds on me a little bit, because I know what they're doing. Some of them think that, like, literally, I mean, some people, maybe they are. It doesn't matter what comes out their mouth. We're just lucky to have their attention. So they'll sit there like they're God's gift, and it's like, my God, you're just boring. It's either boring, or it's just not articulated very well, or the production isn't good, or they're mumbling. My point really is, I haven't really come across a lot of podcasts that I have actually enjoyed watching. There's a few I do. Like, I love The Overlap in the UK. It's got famous football, soccer players. And for me, that's the highest standard. And I think it's great. And you've got four or five former players. and they have a guest sometimes, or sometimes they just talk about their careers, or they talk about like what's going on in the sport. And for me, that's just it's really great because none of it doesn't feel like anyone's playing up to the camera; they're just being themselves, and it's really interesting to watch that. On the other side of that, we've got Gary Lineker, who used to do Match of the Day, so he's famous in the UK for presenting. But there's mannerisms between these, and I find his podcast in comparison to that, I find incredibly boring. He always rubs his nose, and this is the thing. He's a professional presenter. This is what I'm talking about. I don't like criticizing, but I pick up on everything. So that's a professional presenter who's been on TV for a huge portion of their career. So when they stopped playing football, soccer, they went into doing presenting for live football matches and highlights and all that. So he's known very nationwide. He's very, he's famous. But he's moved away from doing that production to doing his own podcast series. So he does with previous football players, but it's in a very different way. It's like they're all in their own homes. So it's more remote rather than the other one, which is together. But when he's talking, he always, I don't know, it's something he always, the way he just presents, I just get bored. And he always does this with his nose. You'll notice that. Pick up on that. Ever watch him? He does it all the time. Whenever he's got something he really wants to say, or he's just thought of something, and then he'll start talking, and I'm thinking, mate, you need to cut that shit out because that's irritating. These are mannerisms that need to be removed. If you're going to have a professional high standard of, production, this is me saying it barely has any followers or views. But, that for me, those things don't quantify anything. It's just, this is a reflection of what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, you could pick people apart all day long, and there's always things and this and that. That it begs the question: like, who is the most entertaining podcast, and who is the best at presenting, and who is the most articulated at talking? Who's the best performer of a podcast? Like, I don't know because I've not seen any good ones so far. Like I said, the overlap for me is miles ahead of all the others in sport, and rightly so. Like they've got like 2 million followers, subscribers, I think, or something like that. And for me, that's well deserved because I even enjoy doing that, watching that. But the whole point of this video really is me just look at, upon reflection, it's made me say, I don't want to be a podcaster. I don't know what I'd call this, but I just like talking on camera and I've got topics. But I thought perhaps I could see myself doing a podcast in future, like in terms of like a duet, like me and someone else, and perhaps even have guests in the future. But it's like, I don't even know I don't know what the standard, That would say when you see these other presenters, when they've got two people presenting, usually one isn't very good. Like, and it's less annoying because what's the point if it's not going to be good enough? And it's like, I'm not saying if there was someone else it wouldn't, but I mean, what are the odds of finding someone that works if that was to be an opportunity in the future? And like, you can't guarantee a guest's going to be interesting. And how do they articulate? How do they present? It's like, that's too much of a minefield of trying to figure that out. So like I said, if someone invites me onto a podcast, why would I want to go on their podcast? Okay, it might get you in the spotlight, it might get you noticed, but it's like, I don't even know how professional it's going to be. You don't even know the sort of setup it is. And it's just, I pick up on things too much. I think I find it irritating. So I thought about it and I thought I wouldn't go on their podcast. I genuinely, and I don't care how many followers they've got. I look at the quality of the session, and I'm looking, thinking, I wouldn't go on that one. I wouldn't go on that one. I wouldn't go on that one. Sometimes there's a lack of honesty in these as well. Like, for instance, the Buckley one, he was promoting rice for the best part of a minute of the video. But if you've got integrity, you literally say, this is a paid for advertisement or a sponsor. This is a sponsored segment of the video. And then you could talk about it. But instead they're acting, you can see they're reading off an iPad, but they're not explaining that this is an advert, even though it's an advert. But I just thought this is quite underhanded. And like, so for some other podcasts, for instance, will have chapters in their videos. So viewers will know, but they were doing it on purpose. So you have to sit and watch it. And I just got fed up in the end. I had to just find the part where they shut up talking about rice. Yeah. Again, it's to each their own. I'm not going out of my way following podcasts. No chance. And like I say, I don't consider myself professional. I just talk about what I do. I'm just doing this in my bedroom with a bloody green screen behind my back so you don't see my bed. and I've just got a freaking image that I've decided to come up with as my thumbnails for all my videos because I'm not going through the hassle of making different cover designs for every video. Um, and I'm not going to start doing wacky faces for every time we've got an idea. So let's say it's something shocking and the topic's shocking. You go, and that'd be the cover design. And the next one, we go, and that's what the people do. They literally go out their way to take so many different photos and then someone will Photoshop and mess about with it to put all these different reactions. And again, it gets likes and it gets attention. And mine are generic because I don't even give a shit. Like I'm not that, I'm not professional to that level. Um, so yeah, babe, I know I have potential. And if I made it my like passion and I made it my desire to do that, then great, you know. But no, this is just I just do it while I'm interested in doing it, and I do it because I'm enjoying it. But there'll be a time when I stop. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I just I can't watch people who I find irritating. And I'm just seeing it. Like, I'm not seeing any good ones. That's my worry. It's like who's presents well. Because most people are literally, I think that's the real problem, isn't it? I mean, you've got people who are amateur acting like they're professionals with a lack of understanding that they aren't professional or they're not experienced yet. That's kind of what I'm noticing. It seems to be people who have, I don't want to, again, I know it's all criticism, but okay, I suppose it's the only way you can look at it. It seems to be most people that are running podcasts seem to be the people who have either extinguished their like an acting career or a sports career. It seems to be people that at the end of a cycle of something that they were established at, and now they've gone down the path of trying to be independent and do their own thing, and now they've decided, you know what, I'm just going to talk on a microphone. I can make a lot of money. I can just make money doing this. And it's like they think because they have like a reputation that we're going to be giving our time to enter their world and listen to what they have to say. And like I say, if it's interesting and they can articulate in a way, in a specific, in a way that's I find entertaining and coherent, then great. But I find them too overindulgent, so I can't even listen. And some of them just got whiny voices, and sometimes it's like inside jokes things. Again, it seems to me like again I've had this problem with celebrities in general anyway, and it's through seeing this sort of stuff is that on camera they can be really funny and their lines are great, and it's like it's incredible, but in person they're really not that funny, and they're not as interesting as you'd think they'd be. So I often find even if they're really funny on screen, they often try too hard when they're being interviewed. So I find I'm someone that doesn't like people who just laugh for the sake of laughing. I don't like that. I know it can be a nervous laugh and it can be all these things, and this isn't me being all judgy, of course. Um, but I don't like artificial shit. I just rather you be honest. So if you feel nervous, yeah, okay, there's a nervous laugh. You've noticed that. But if it's somebody that just wants attention all the time and they don't like the quiet moments, so they have to sort of, because again, that's what a lot of people going on podcasts. If you're the guest, that's what the whole point is, isn't it? Publicity for the most part, unless you just truly enjoy talking to people. Um, if it's topics, it's like maybe, but you find a lot of them are there to promote themselves. So if a conversation sidetracks them, they get uncomfortable and then they want to blurt shit out just to stay in the conversation. But again, that's up to the host, isn't it? To try and manage that and try and keep them engaged, because otherwise, what's the point of having a guest? Yeah, anyway, all this long-winded shit to say that, yeah, I don't see myself. It's sad because I actually thought that my path was leading me to potentially expand into podcasts, because I thought, you know what, there could be growth there. You never know who you meet. You never know who has a platform and you can merge, or you can create a brand, or you can do this and do that. And it's just, now I feel quite deflated because it's like, what is the standard? Because like I said, the ones I've seen so far, I'm not impressed by. So would I collaborate with them? No. Would I be a guest on their show? No. So like, see what I mean? Like popularity means nothing to me. I'm not saying, again, I've already said I don't see myself as professional. I'm not experienced yet, or whatever you want to call it. But compared to them, I think I'm better at articulating and talking than they are. Um, so I really don't care if I've only got a handful of followers or a handful of views. It doesn't change anything in my mindset as to in comparison to the alternative. you know, I just I don't know why people are subscribing and watching it. But sometimes, people, again, I think that's just where society's at in general, isn't it? The average person likes that sort of entertainment, or they like to watch a train wreck or something. So they're just amused by it, and it just makes them feel comfortable. I get into the consciousness of people. It's crazy. But yeah, so yeah, I've got to like reassess maybe what I'm trying to do now, because I think there's too many There's too many pod. I think there was a pod in the past. It was like podcast was the growing thing where you can get into, and now I think it's getting oversaturated, far too oversaturated. Like how's anyone even got enough time to watch every single one of these? If there's all similar ones and things, you just got to pick your favorite. And I definitely am not going in some weird competition phase where it's like competing with this, competing with that. I definitely don't seek attention. Like I say, if I've got something to talk about, I'll just talk about it. I'll just ramble on, and I've got something to say. Yeah, I probably should have just done this one in the morning, really, because to be honest, I just see about 3 of them, whack the camera on. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I should be just going to sleep. I just thought I better do it now while I'm thinking about it, because I might forget tomorrow. Even if I made a note, I'll probably lose train of thought. It's not fresh. Um, but yeah, this whole point of this wasn't really just to sort of like criticize people or attack. It was more a frustration in the sort of the market, if you like. It was like I saw myself, my future was gonna. I think that's what it is. I feel demoralized. I just felt so um not necessarily lost. I just felt like I don't know. It is demoralized. It's just I'm trying to find another word, but literally that's what it is. It's just demoralized because, like I say, I always thought perhaps a breakthrough in career. You never know where the breakthroughs come. It might be someone's got a podcast or something, or something like that, and you feature and you can talk about something, and they'll be smart, they'll be bright, they'll be intelligent, they'll be articulated. You can have a deep conversation with them, and it can be light-hearted. So you feel relaxed, and you can have a little bit of fun with each other. So it's nice. That's how I sort of pictured it. I could maybe romanticizing too much potential, but like I said, I'm not seeing anyone of interest that I would even want to bother with that. So what would be the point? So now that's putting, so for instance, any potential collaborations or features, that's now no longer happening in my mind. Like, there's no point even thinking of it. I'm not even going down that path. So effectively, my YouTube channel is literally just me with my videos because I've got something to talk about, but I'm not in a competition with anyone with podcasts and stuff because I'm a solo person. It's not the same, is it? Like, I recognize that if you've got someone to talk off and you've got other, like, because effectively, if you've got someone to talk to, you've got other the conversation can take you in different directions. And of course, it can go on a lot longer. And it can be incredibly interesting when you listen to 2 different ideas on each topic. So let's say there's a topic. It might be you've got polarizing ideas, or it might be that you've got similar ideas. Either way, it's interesting, isn't it, to have a dynamic? And then often, if you've got someone else you're talking to, it can take the conversation in different directions. So that creates this huge piece. And I think that, like I said, I find that quite interesting. And I think that's really what people gravitate to. But I'm solo, and I don't envisage, in all honesty, meeting anybody um, that can, I don't want to say match me, but it's like I just don't envisage collaborating anymore. So yeah, I certainly won't be doing podcasts anymore. I'll be doing the videos when I want to do videos, but the idea of podcast. So my podcast, for instance, is just me, and it's just taking some of the videos I've done on YouTube. They're already uploaded until about Christmas, but I won't be adding any more. I'm not wasting my time adding more. It's not something I intend to grow. I don't think it's had any attention anyway. I don't even know if there's been any freaking listeners or views. I don't promote it. That's the thing with me. I don't like self promotion. So I just create, move on. Rarely ever do I even try to go out of my way to promote. So most people don't even know what I do, or, so there's me thinking, well, how comes this ain't growing? How comes this ain't growing? It's because, in that sense, I'm not professional. I'm not professional enough that I market because I don't enjoy that side of things, and I don't, um, what do you call it, third party. I don't um, like have an agency or something. I don't have something there to do all that, to spin the webs. It's just a one man band. But that's fine. So I think what it is about now, for me personally, it's just STEM expectations. I think that's what's going to happen here. I think I'm just going to, instead of looking so grand forward, because that's part of what perhaps in my journey I was considering, all these big things, opportunities could come, this could happen, this could happen. Now I'm sort of stemming it. Like, I don't see a podcast now. I don't see a talk show. I don't see um, speaking on stage. I don't see all these big events and these things anymore, because I'm not even sure where the hell that would come from. Or even if, it'd be with the right people. It's a bit like where you've got musicians and you've got like these incredible musicians. They all sing together, they make the songs, they write, or they're just like, they do tours and they all like back each other up. And you've got support acts and things like that. But even the support act's great. So that's sort of like what I'm talking about. So it's about standards. I wouldn't even want to be like, I don't mind being a support act for something great, but I'm not going to be a part of something crap. I think that's the thing, isn't it? So like, I'm not doing that networking or just working my way through different podcasts to get my name out there. I'm not doing that shit at all. Yeah. So I think now I'm just going to be looking at it a bit more pragmatic and say, look, my YouTube's my YouTube. It's no more than that. It's just my YouTube. And my books, of course, I'll work on the books throughout the years. And if I've got another book coming, it'll come whenever it's ready. And that'll just be the extent of it, I think, personally. And I think I'm happy enough with that. That's keeping things contained within myself. It's not looking too far forward. It's not having any expectation of anything. It's not really collaborative. It's literally just a one-man band. And I'm fine with that. But that just means that I think the potential for growth, potential for elevation is far more limited because it's independent. Because it's solo, there's not a big of an audience. So effectively, the audience, it's a bit like when you see the indie artists, they have the potential to be bigger, but you might even look on sometimes. I'm not saying that about me in general, but I mean, someone sees potential when other people see like a flop, So someone might think you're not that good, other people might think you're great, and it's just, again, it's opinions. But it's the same with like indie artists, singers and things. You might listen and go, God damn, they should be famous, or they should be like at the top of their field, or they should be selling, best selling. Like, how the hell is that not selling? It's incredible. And it is the same sort of thing. It's because you haven't got the same platform as everybody else. Like my books are not in bookshops. So they're not in shop windows. They're not in airports. They're not in all the places where people maybe be looking to collect books and buy books. They're not seeing them because I'm an independent author. I do it my way, but it just means that it's hard to reach audiences because I don't even like marketing. So who's going to see it? But it still doesn't make me go out of my way to do the things perhaps I should, because that's not me. That's not what I want to do. So I just do what I want to do. And it just means the potential for expansion, the potential for growth is far more limited because you're not in those places. And again, if you only have to look at these celebrities and the people who want attention, you just look. It's like, I'm not saying all, of course, but if you just look on the podcasts and things, it's like they're just desperate. They're just desperate for people to notice them. They're desperate for growth because it's money. All they see is money. Money and fame, money and fame, money and fame. So they'll make themselves look stupid on camera. They'll act up. They'll read off a freaking script for rice without even acknowledging to the audience that this is literally a paid advertisement that they're promoting for. Because there's a lack of authenticity with that, isn't there? Because they want you to sit through this spiel, because they're going to get financially rewarded for it. So they're going to waste your time, even though, like, we all know about bloody rice. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. And again, there is a level of sellout within industry, but I just think if that's where podcasts are going, then I'm not going. It's not for me. So, like I say, my podcast, I've done a couple in the past because I toy with the idea. So my podcast will end around Christmas. I was thinking about cancelling the scheduled ones because they're already uploaded, but I'm just going to let them play out. I'm just going to let it play out. Let the dates go as they are, and once December's finished, there'll be nothing more. Anything I do on YouTube, I'm not transferring over there anymore. It'll literally end by the end of the year, and that podcast's finished. There'll be a lot of episodes by then, though. I'm not sure how many. I guess maybe 30 or so. It might even be more. I don't know. Could be more. Could be less. Actually, I think it's about 40. I really can't remember. No, I can't remember exact numbers. But yeah, my YouTube has got a lot. But I go through phases where I'm interested in, other phases when I'm not. I mean, I could literally just fade off YouTube for a month, a year, 2 years. It depends where the wind takes me, where life takes me and what I'm interested in. So I don't really do things for the same reasons I think many others do. And again, when I see what the standards are in certain industry, it's like, yeah, I'm not following that. I'm not following that madness. So, yeah, this is just me, a little bit of rant about the quality of podcast in general. And I think that seeking of fame destroys people.